Welcome to another episode of Untold Legends, and this time we go right back into the world of Assassin's Creed. Last time we explored Bayek's journey after Assassin's Creed Origins and discovered the inspiration behind the rule that no innocent should be harmed by the blade of an assassin. And his story continues in the Curse of the Pharaohs DLC chapter, 4 years after the events of Origins and taking place sometime after the Hidden Ones DLC in the year 38 BCE. But to understand this chapter, we have to understand the Isu artifacts known as the Apples of Eden that I covered extensively in my Assassin's Creed Timeline series. Ancient relics made of advanced technology from the now extinct Isu civilization that created humanity. To the Isu, the Apples of Eden were simple tools used to control human slaves. To early humans, they were seen as divine relics, power gifted to humanity from the gods, mysterious orbs that helped create empires and secretly guided the course of human history. The apples were capable of much more than mind control, but no humans have ever unlocked the full potential of these artifacts. In the Assassin's Creed series, we've seen glimpses of their true powers. Flavius created constructs that had the power to interact with and cause harm in the real world. Al-Mualim used one to manifest illusions, making Altair believe that he'd been mortally wounded.
Peace be upon you, Altair.
I am alive. But I saw you stab me. I felt death's embrace.
You saw what I wanted you to see.
The orbs could also record history, imprinting past experiences within them, shown when Altair spent his life studying the orb he had in his possession, as it revealed the secrets of the past to him. Connor and George Washington encountered an apple that created a shared world in their minds, indistinguishable from reality, where Washington had become a tyrannical dictator and Connor's mother was still alive.
Take it from me, I do not want it.
No man should possess a power so absolute.
Sink it into the sea. Weight it, and sink it to the bottommost reaches of the ocean.
And Juno mentioned to Desmond that the Isu discovered that the apples, with enough belief, could turn thoughts into reality in a literal way. Now that we have an understanding of some of the apple's power, let's explore Egypt during the time of the Pharaohs. Egyptian culture centered around the belief that the Pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt, was a literal god walking the earth, with their subjects in awe of their divine presence, and massive pyramids built to serve as their tombs, and gateways to their afterlives. But the power of the Pharaohs was more than superstitious beliefs, as the divine rulers used the power of the Apple of Eden to cement their rule, recorded in ancient hieroglyphics found hidden throughout the tombs in the Valley of the Kings. The pharaoh Akhenaten at some point acquired an Apple of Eden and believed it to be a representation of a single omnipotent god, known as Aten, the disk of the sun. Akhenaten and his wife, Queen Nefertiti, suppressed the belief in multiple gods and centered the Egyptian religion around this single deity. They were seen by some as blasphemous rulers, and many Egyptians worshipped the old gods in secret. After his death, his monuments were dismantled and destroyed, and his name was excluded from the list of Egyptian kings in an attempt to erase him from history, and his wife Nefertiti held the Apple of Eden, and eventually it was passed down to their son, Tutankhamun, better known as King Tut. Instead of continuing his father's religious belief of one single god, he restored the old Egyptian gods and handed down the artifact to his priests, instead of keeping it under pharaoh control, believing that they would use it to maintain ma'at, order and justice for the Egyptian people. Years later, the priest used the orb to aid the pharaoh Ramesses the Great, considered by many to be the most famous of all the pharaohs, a warrior king and winner of many great battles. As time passed, the Apple of the Pharaohs absorbed Egyptian history and the ideas behind their belief systems. It was only a matter of time before somebody took advantage of its power and abused it to unleash the power of the pharaohs. Several years before the events of Assassin's Creed Origins, a priestess known as Notokris had the apple in her possession. A group of tomb robbers attempted to ransack the local necropolis and she tried to prevent it, but the robbers murdered her. Her young daughter Isidora witnessed the entire event and took the apple, swearing to use the power gifted from the gods to one day avenge her mother's death. She grew up studying the ancient rituals performed in the past and unlocking the powers of the orb, believing it was her divine duty to bring order to Egypt using fear. And in her position as the head priestess of the Temple of Karnak, she used the power of the apple to bring chaos to the region of Thebes. Eventually, word reached Bayek's wife Aya in Rome, and she sent her husband a letter, suspecting that another ancient relic was responsible for the turmoil enveloping the area. Bayek made his way to Thebes to find the suspected artifact and discover what was happening. And when he arrived, he witnessed a seemingly impossible and horrific sight.
What is this?
The Pharaoh's curse!
As Ra lives, he landed a blow.
It seemed the dead were rising and were out of control, randomly attacking the populace. The people of Thebes believed this to be a punishment from the gods, unleashing a curse on the land. In reality, Isidora had used the orb to summon manifestations of the pharaohs that held it in the past, even going as far as creating manifestations of creatures from Egyptian mythology, essentially turning illusions into reality.
The Claimer of Hearts comes for me.
Even Bayek was convinced the pharaohs were rising from the dead, believing the Apple of Eden was resurrecting them. Bayek searched the region, gathering information from the populace and defending innocent people from the shadows of the pharaohs. In trying to find the source of the curse, he consulted with the local priestess, Isidora, and keeping her plot hidden from him, she justified the curse as the will of the gods. But Bayek had seen this kind of dark magic before. He knew the curse wasn't the doing of any god, but the manipulation of the artifact being controlled by a human.
Can this truly
Isidora!
This may not be Amun, but Amun can stop him.
This is not the gods. Don't you understand?
The Lord to the limit still holds dominion over Thebes. And I am Amun's wife. The people need to know that he still hears their cries.
Then tell me his will.
Eventually making his way to the Valley of the Kings where the ancient pharaohs of Egypt were buried, Bayek realized the apple had been in the possession of the pharaohs for centuries, and was handed down by the royal priest, and realized that Isidora had been lying. She was in possession of the apple the entire time, but before confronting her, he had to stop the manifestations of the pharaohs from harming any more innocent people, attempting to find a way by exploring their tombs, which appeared to be empty. And in their tombs, Bayek discovered mysterious gateways that seemed to lead to another world.
Do you cry out our names in vain?
Scorn! Scorn! You refuse to bend your head.
Do you honor the sacred rites?
Shout, scream, murder in the temples.
This entire area was enveloped by the influence of the apple, and coming here would thrust travelers into a world made real, where the spirits of the pharaohs would return and monstrous creatures from Egyptian beliefs resided, similar to when Connor found himself in the world of King Washington during Assassin's Creed 3. Bayek knew it was a creation of the apple, but the worlds were indistinguishable from reality. The world of Aten was an aspect of the Egyptian afterlife reserved for those that followed the pharaoh Akhenaten's belief of a single powerful deity, represented by the orb shining gloriously in the sky. The realm of Aten took the form of the city of Amarna, the capital of Egypt during his reign, and here Bayek faced the ancient pharaoh king, the blasphemous one, Akhenaten. After defeating the pharaoh, Bayek realized that the apple was no longer able to manifest his apparition, and he decided to travel to the other realms and return the rulers to their rest one by one. The realm of Aru, also known as the Field of Reeds, was a heavenly paradise, considered to be the final resting place for the recently deceased, and it was also home to the manifestation of Nefertiti, ancient queen and wife of Akhenaten in life. Thebes said was the realm occupied by the warrior king Ramesses the Great, depicted as a harsh desert filled with enormous statues and a battlefield representing the battle-hardened pharaoh.
Ra grant you eternity with your beloved Bayek.
After defeating 3 of the 4 pharaohs, Bayek tracked down Isidora, attempting to end her threat, but found that she was more dangerous than he expected.
The relic corrupts absolutely. Isidora cannot believe this is the will of the gods. The relic. It is twisting what I see.
After tracking her again to the tomb of King Tut, she sent Bayek into the realm of the Duat, the realm of the dead, where souls were weighed by the Egyptian gods Anubis or Osiris. In the Duat, Bayek faced the soul of his old enemy and member of the Order of the Ancient, Septimius, attempting to enter the afterlife by deceiving the gods.
No, you will not corrupt the field of reeds as you have corrupted me! Apep! Devourer! Come!
And the final pharaoh, King Tut, resided in the Duat as Bayek came face to face with him, determined to end the curse. And finally, breaking out of the illusions created by the apple, Bayek put an end to Isidora and her plans, and peace finally returned to Thebes.
I do not understand. This was my birthright. My revenge. Why did he give me the power to finish what she started? Only for me to fail.
Amun never gave you power. He gave you a choice. As easy as it is to do wrong, it is easy for Amun to be merciful. May the Hidden One walk with you. The Lord of the Duat awaits.
Bayek, for the second time in his life, had witnessed the horrors that the Apple of Eden could bring upon the world in the wrong hands, and knew that it had to be hidden well. So he took the apple and gave it to a thief descended from Ramesses that he had encountered in his travels, and entrusted him to hide the artifact well, returning to his role as a guardian of the innocent.
Hey, Bayek. We will meet again in the field of reeds. I will see to it.
The thief, Sutek, was sadly found later by Bayek, deceased, and the orb missing. Whether he was murdered or died by accident was not known. Was the orb hidden before his death, or did the Order of the Ancients find it on him and take it by force? Perhaps that's a story for another time, but for now, this concludes the tale of the true power behind the rise of the pharaohs in Egypt. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a like and a comment down below letting me know. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on social media. You can also check out some of my other videos or click my Patreon link if you'd like to support GamerThumbTV. This is Fabian. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.